Hello there, people of the internet. So I have an interesting one for you guys. Living out here in the middle of scenic nowhere, Florida, there's a lot of farms out here. And I was actually offered a job as a ranch hand on one of these farms. And whenever I was talking to the person, well, to be clear, I do not have any intention of becoming a ranch hand. But whenever I was talking to this person, they said, yeah, but you have to provide your own firearm. Because, well, there's a lot of reasons why you would need a firearm for dealing with a ranch, but I'm not going to get in there. Or into the reasons behind that. But he said you got to provide your own firearm, and he asked if I had a gun, and I was like, yeah, I got one or two. And whenever I was scratching my head and we were talking, I began like pondering to myself, if I were to become a ranch hand here in the state of Florida, what rifle would I choose? And like, it's just one of those things that like you start thinking about. And as I was thinking, I was like, well, I could go with this, or this, or this, or this, or this. And I just looked at my massive pile of guns, and I was like, there's just so many options. And I got some nostalgia, because I do that same thing every hunting season. Like, what am I going to bring this time? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. No, I don't have ammunition for that. It hasn't been made since the 1860s. So, yeah, there's just times where I'm caught looking at my pile of stuff and I'm like, if I had to pick one for this particular situation, which would I pick? So I have me a big pile of guns out here on this table, and before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and say these are not free and they damn sure ain't cheap. So if you want to help support my work, links to Utreon and Patreon are in the description below. That would definitely help me make content. I have some things here that are good ideas and bad ideas. So first, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I personally have witnessed. I actually know someone in this county in the state of Florida who is a ranch hand, and they've, been a ranch hand for several generations of family. And they use a 30-40 Krag rifle as their ranch hand rifle. Now, the 30-40 Krag, it takes a 308 diameter bullet, so you can find projectiles for it, and you can get brass for it, and there are companies out there who occasionally will load ammunition for the 30-40 Krag, but it's not really something that you see very often. But, well, just because of the ammunition unavailability, the 30-40 Krag probably is not something that I would go for myself. However, this particular guy, he has been using it literally for generations through his family. He has plenty of ammunition to be able to use it, and he knows how to use his particular 30-40 Krag very, very well. And I mean, his 30-40 Krag has stood the test of time. It has been sporterized a lot like this one, and back whenever these were being surplused and they weren't, collectible and whatnot, then sporterizing one of these really wasn't that big of a deal. And in his particular case, it is literally just a tool for his job. However, it would not be the tool that I would pick. I would definitely go something in a common caliber that I could literally just go to the gun store or to Walmart or literally anywhere to pick up ammunition for, and they don't exactly sell 30-40 Krag off the shelves at a lot of these different stores. Up next, I probably wouldn't go with a less common European cartridge. This right here is a Turkish Mauser. It would make a good option for a ranch hand rifle, but the 8mm Mauser, which is what this is chambered in, is not all that common at a lot of gun stores. I mean, it is a very popular round, very popular rifle, but here in the United States and here in the state of Florida, it's just not something that you find very often, and whenever you do find it, it's like $1.50 a round unless you're buying some surplus stuff. And surplus is corrosive, you got to clean your rifle, it tends to be unreliable, it's not exactly something I would want to rely on. If I was going to be using a rifle like this for practical purposes, I would definitely get modern day reliable, non-corrosive ammunition. And just because of the lack of availability of that, I probably wouldn't go with any kind of European caliber. Now, there is one exception. I have me a Mauser 9130 chambered in 7.62 by 54 rim. This would be a good option. Like, if I was looking at full power rifles, which is something that you would definitely want as a ranch hand, a lot of times here in the state of Florida, deer are like a huge nuisance here, and they destroy a ton of property, but so do hogs and pigs, and hogs and pigs can get upwards of 300 plus pounds. they get huge here in the state of Florida. Deer, not so much. They tend to stay around 150, 175 or so. So you could get away with using an intermediate caliber cartridge on them. However, the deer and whatnot are not really that big of a deal. They see you, they run off, and you know, you don't really have to worry about them all that much. But hogs will attack you, and I don't want to be attacked by a 300-pound hog and not have something adequate enough to be able to use. So 7.62 by 54 Ren is something that is still available as of right now. However, with it being a military round, you mostly just find them in full metal jackets because that's what the militaries use. So this right here is tool ammo, 7.62 by 54 Ren, definitely a powerful, potent cartridge, but this is full metal jacket rounds because that's just the easiest type of ammo to find for this stuff. And whenever you do find non-full metal jacket rounds, such as soft point ammunition or something like that, a lot of times you are paying quite the premium for that stuff, you know, $1.50 plus a round. So you kind of fall into the same category of it being a little bit more on the expensive side to shoot. Not only that, but non-full metal jacket 7.62 by 54 rim is a lot less common than regular full metal jacket 7.62 by 54 rim. So just because of the lack of ammunition variety, I probably would not go with the 7.62 by 54 rimmed. So those are the things I probably wouldn't go with, but I did consider at least these types of rifles. 30-40 Krag, just can't find ammo for it without like reloading your own or anything like that. 8mm Mauser, that just covers the whole genre of European cartridges that are a little on the difficult side to find. 54 rimmed, that's a military cartridge. Pretty much you can only find full metal jackets for it, and whenever you don't find full metal jackets for it, they can be a little on the expensive side. And if you're looking for something besides full metal jacket, you're going to have a tough time finding it. Now we're going to go into the things that I would probably be more likely to pick. I could not decide on just one firearm, so I decided to go ahead and give myself two. If I were to actually choose rifles as a ranch hand, I considered a PCC. More often than not here in the state of Florida, yeah, boar and pig and whatnot would definitely be an issue. However, a lot more often than not, you're going to have like squirrels or raccoons or possums or coyotes or things like that messing up all kinds of everything. And a simple 9mm hollow point or something like that would be more than adequate at taking out some of these bastards. Now, the 9mm is powerful enough to take out these small game, but not powerful enough to like completely disintegrate it. Like if you were to hit a squirrel with a 30-06, that thing would be gone. So if you want to end up having some squirrel stew or something afterwards, then you can go ahead and make your kill matter. Not only that, but 9mm ammunition is extremely cheap. In this particular case, I can fire 9mm out of this thing. Like I can get 3 shots out of this thing for every 1 round to say 5.56, which is still a very common and cheap round. So this was definitely something I was considering. However, here in the state of Florida, if you're a ranch hand, you're going to be working in fields, and these fields oftentimes can be 500-600 yards in length. So a 9mm shooting across the field probably is not going to be the best option, especially if you're looking for accurate shots, and especially if you have to take out something that is a little bit more on the sizable side. Like if I'm being attacked by a hog, I don't want a PCC with 9mm. It could do the job, but I would definitely prefer something a little bit more powerful. So now we're going to start moving into something a little bit more powerful. In all honesty, this right here is a Ruger Mini 14 in 5.56. This is probably what I would pick if I was in the instance of choosing a rifle as a ranch hand. Iron sights, aperture sights, with me being blind, they're just really, really good. This particular Ruger Mini 14 has about 2.5, 3 MOA accuracy whenever I'm like bench rested and whatnot, which is plenty for ranch hand work. 223 5.56 is adequate enough to be able to handle most of what goes on here in the state of Florida, including deer and hog and whatnot. And with this being an external magazine, I can get any size magazine that I want. as opposed to something with a fixed magazine like, say, a Mauser where you're limited to only 5 rounds. This is a 5-round magazine because I do use this for hunting, but in the event that I had to, say, defend myself against 2-legged predators, I could literally just throw a 30-round mag in this thing and go to town, and this right here would definitely serve its purpose. This would be an excellent, excellent option for a ranch hand rifle. 5-round magazine, I could hunt with this thing if I felt like it, or if I was doing something on the ranch, I could just throw, you know, any amount of magazine in this thing. And 223, 5.56, I mean, that's good enough for taking out small game without completely obliterating them. If you're using a full metal jacket on a squirrel, it'll just go, you know, through and through, much like a 22 long rifle would. Or, you know, hogs or coyotes or well, that's 2 very different animals. Hogs or deer or something that's more of a medium game. Just with the nature of the 223 being frangible, well, frangible, it breaks apart whenever it hits something. That provides enough damage to be able to take out whatever it is that you are dealing with. Now, if I were to just choose a centerfire rifle, I would probably go with that Ruger Mini 14. It's a lot less scaring, a lot less assuming than, say, an AR platform or something like that. So the Mini 14 would probably be my go-to because it would freak a lot less people out. Now, if I were to go with a shotgun, just a classic 12-gauge shotgun, this right here is a JC Higgins 58320. I can't remember the designation on these, but any kind of 12-gauge shotgun would work. Just birdshot, buckshot, and slugs are basically all you need for literally anything here in the state of Florida. I went with this bolt-action shotgun right here for representation of this video, specifically because I had it sitting and it was the easiest to grab. But any kind of 12-gauge shotgun would work. It doesn't have to be a bolt-action shotgun, but I mean, it could be pump action, it could be a semi-auto if it's reliable. Any kind of shotgun would work as an excellent ranch hand weapon. The one caveat that I have against the shotgun is the fact that here in the state of Florida, if you have something going down 600 yards away across your open field, a shotgun might be a little bit more on the difficult side. Now, I also thought about a full power rifle. This is a bolt action 308. This right here has a optic on it, and it would make a very excellent ranch rifle. You don't necessarily need a bunch of firepower as a ranch hand, and so you don't necessarily need semi-automatics. So you know a bolt action is going to work every single time that you pull the trigger. The one thing that I don't like about it is this particular rifle has a very limited capacity. I'm not able to find any greater capacity magazines for this thing, and I am limited to 6 rounds. That being said, that's still 6 rounds of 308. And if you are on a ranch, handling whatever it is that you're handling, you should be able to handle what you need to take care of with 6 rounds of 308. Unless, of course, you're dealing with some kind of 2-legged predator who has something that is a little bit more automatic than this right here. This is not something I would want to defend myself against. So if I were to pick something, I mean, I gave this a lot of thought. I really did. If I were to pick something, I'd probably go with a Mini 14, even at the distances of 500 yards or so, just with the barrel length of this right here. And this being 223 5.56, which is a very ballistically capable round. Wind's not going to push it around, and gravity's not going to pull it down very fast. Well, I guess gravity does pull at a consistent speed. But anyway, I can go anywhere from like 40 grain up to probably about 70 grain. I think that this is a 1-in-8 twist barrel. Might have some issues with stabilizing at, you know, one extreme or the other of bullet weight. I'm not sure. I haven't tested that out of this particular Mini 14. That does remind me of a video though. But I'd probably pick this one right here. Let me know what you guys would pick. I'm curious about that. That being said, hey folks, thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. I thought a lot about this right here, but this is what I would probably ultimately go with. I would pick this, and I would pick some kind of full power rifle, probably my 308. So thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Kevin. Like, subscribe, share. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.